I'm Davey.
I'm Misty.
DMWATS.
Unscripted.
Unedited.
Unapologetic.
Let's get it. What's going on, everybody? I'm Davey.
I'm Misty.
And welcome to another episode of DMWATS Podcast, guys. So let's go ahead and get into it. The blue and yellow. It's in the news a lot more now. Things are still going on over there.
Now that Finland and Sweden are like,
talking about joining NATO.
No, they're not talking about it. They're doing it.
Yeah, June, wasn't it? Is when they're supposed to be putting the application in, is what I saw.
Oh, yeah.
To join NATO. So we'll see what happens.
The Swiss have gotten involved.
Yeah, I know, right? No longer neutral. So look, support those people in the way you can, guys. DMWATSpodcast.com is where y'all can find our videos, the website. Catch us on all the streaming services. If you're watching us at home, you guys already know to catch us on the YouTube also. So we got some cryptos. As we said, Shiba is on Robinhood, and we'll talk about that when something happens. But anyway, so Nissan Service Dog says hello too. She is looking at us. So all right, so we're gonna go ahead and march right into this fishbowl topic. March right into this fishbowl topic. I got a green one.
You got a green one.
Yeah, it's a green one. So
oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, that's really cool because I was like, all I want to do is kind of come on here and rant, and that works with it. Not rant, but talk. You're right.
Yeah. So the topic of this conversation, this podcast, is why this works.
Why this works.
Marriage, podcasting, and relationships. So this is different from the one we did earlier, where it was about weddings, right? So this one is about relationships. Kind of a not so much a piggyback on the interracial couple, but it's on its own. It's called, we believe it or not, what we just pulled. Here you go.
Okay, what we just pulled. What?
What we just pulled. We actually remember we talked about it. We were going to do a comic book strip called "Why This Works."
Yeah, I have it. I have some of it drawn out. I have like 3 pages of cartoons.
Yeah.
Of topics, things that have happened, one-liners, things that have happened in our marriage,
in our relationship,
in our family.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Just a comic strip.
Yeah, be a comic strip. So without further ado,
that's my pitch for the comic strip. Yeah. And it's called Why This
Works. So we're going to talk about.
I'll find the drawing, and then that'll be the thumbnail for this video.
Why this works.
And the podcast.
Yeah, there you go. Why this works. Without further ado, why this works. The real answer is we don't know why it works.
We have no idea.
We have no idea.
We're
why
this works. Alike, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Our ideas, our worldview, everything like that lines up. Our spiritual our spiritual sense lines up, but is just different enough to keep us interested in talking about it. We both like to talk, and we like to talk to each other.
They have not figured that out.
No. We both know a lot about a lot.
Yeah.
And it makes life interesting, but that's what also drives our mind and our attraction to each other.
Yeah.
Not everybody likes that.
Yeah. So I think that why this works, I believe we both have what we call a worldview.
Yep.
So me with did 22 years in the military, traveled all over the world. So I just think different. You know what I mean? And she's moved around a lot, experienced things that people would not normally experience. So it gives you a different mindset of thinking. And this is why we talk about, I don't think we've done a podcast yet for traveling, but it's one that when we think about like traveling, experiencing different cultures, why when you have a worldview, it can be a different way of thinking. So something as simple as meditating, right? Something as simple as meditating. Where did you figure out meditation? Was it here? Or was it when you lived in Massachusetts?
No, it was here.
Was it here? Okay.
Yeah, it was something that was always, I don't want to say given to me as a child, but it was an option that was explored. The way I grew up, nothing was off topic when it came to religion with my father. My mother was she was the strict one, and she was the strict religious one. But then you could go into the kitchen, and my father, as he was cooking mass meals, and he also, he would teach Sunday school, but he had a more open mind about it because of the way he grew up. So it was always, you must have an open mind. I think that's what we were taught.
Right. So now let's talk about why that's important. The why, when we talk about why this works, it's important to have such an open mind. So let's take our young people right now. A lot of us
Narrow.
concede that a lot of young people would be, or millennials, whatever the hell you want to call them, are closed-minded. Why?
Yeah.
Something as simple. We dealt with this with some of our children. Well, the majority of our children. Now, like back in the day with us, if we applied for a job, we knew we had to call them.
Yep.
We knew that you don't just apply, you got to call them.
And if that didn't work, you sat there
Yeah.
and met everybody as they walked through the door to go to work. And then you were there when they left to go home.
Yep. How's it going? How's it going? Hey, look, no, I want this job.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's literally, it's a thing of the past. And it's also literally, they're confused when you say, hey, did you call? Like all of them, like literally you ask any young person out there, I'm gonna tell you right now. And I know I told this story maybe a few episodes ago. When I had an incident with my daughter before when she was trying to get hold of her friend, and she had been texting her and texting her and texting her all day.
Yeah.
And I said, well, did you call her?
Did you call her?
She was like, nobody calls, Dad.
And they don't. But with that, so to their defense, no, nobody calls anymore because nobody has the time. Nobody wants to pick up the phone. And when I say time, a lot of people go, no, they have the time. They just don't want to. Okay. They don't want to.
Yeah.
And it doesn't change the fact they're not going to pick up the phone. But there's other options. Having that as a thing does not automatically then mean that you don't email every day once an hour,
right.
Or that you don't show up with muffins, or that you don't walk into the place, that you don't call the space and inquire. There's other things to be done that you don't get on their Facebook site. You know what I mean? Like that's where they become narrow-minded because they're like, well, nobody does that anymore. Okay. But somebody's got to. Yeah. And if you want the job, it might as well be you.
Absolutely. And I think that when it comes down to it, and that's just one thing, right? So, well, coming up for where we came up from, like that's what we were taught with about, interviewing. Now, don't get me wrong, this obviously isn't the podcast, isn't about interviewing, but that's one of the things that, us as our relationship, we so much agree on. And we talk about, hey, yeah, that's something that the way I was brought up, the way she was brought up too. We were both brought up religiously.
Yes.
With a religion, but we are also both, which is crazy. We were also both those type of children where it's like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
We got questions. We were the questioners.
We asked a lot of questions. So, again, I think a worldview does come down to, you don't have to travel the world to have a worldview.
No.
But if you read and you're inquisitive and you're always looking, or you have some sense of street smarts, that's a worldview.
Exactly. And I have to say this. So we talk about why this works, right? Between the two of us, like, let's just say you come across some things, like, let's say you see stuff in the news, right? That like, hey, I'm getting evicted. I'm getting evicted. Well, I guess that's it. I got to go. I don't really know what to do. She'll be like, let's look up on the internet. Let's find this. Let's find this.
The law.
Next thing you know, we joke around and say, the law offices are Hobbs and Hobbs. Because then we'll go through and we'll start doing research together. We'll stay up late at night.
It's a thing.
Researching and doing all those things.
I'm a researcher.
Right. It is a thing. How else? Why this works? We are both, we have decided to go back to school to get our degree in theology.
Yep.
Concentration on world religions, because we want a broader aspect of the way things work, bringing that spirituality to
how we believe.
And
it also works because when it comes to religion or what we believe, we also aren't so closed-minded into, prime example, separation of church and state. Really?
Some of y'all about to turn this off.
There is a separation of church and state. And that is because just because we have a moral compass doesn't mean that it gets to then rule other things. So for instance, a woman's body. Now, if you want to rule me by the Bible, nah, you're going to have to go somewhere else, and I'm not going to vote for you. The fact that people are that are in power are getting to use that is an excuse to rule women. No, you're not a Christian, you're a Puritan. And I have some issues with that. And if you'd like to come on the podcast and let me know exactly why you, without citing the Bible, without even talking about your religion, if you can give me an honest to God reason why you think it's better for women to not be able to have a procedure done, then please DMWATS Podcast at gmail.com.
Hey,
I want to have a conversation with you because I don't think it's fair that you get to tell me what to do with my body. I'm not telling you what to do with your guns.
Boom. Oh yeah, they ain't ready for that one.
So yeah, but back to the subject.
Yeah, no, we say, but we say no. Seriously, we talk about why this works.
Here's the thing: you can have a state, and you can have your religion, and you can have science, and you can have your religion. See, that's where you and I. This is why that works, because you and I believe there can be a big bang and evolution. And then creationism on top of it. Well, there has to be creationism before the evolution, but there can be
we can look at Big Bang as the creation.
Exactly.
As God spoke it in existence into the Big Bang. But hey.
So, it's things like that. We just have a different unique take. It's not even unique. I know there's other people out there that think the way we do.
Yeah.
But it's that combined with, everything else.
Right. But let's talk about, when we say why this works, and also ask the question, like, if you're married listening to this, or if you have a significant other, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you want to call it, looking at this and you're asking yourself, well, why does our relationship work? What actually works in a relationship is, hey, do I like him or her, they or them, because, hey, the great personality, do we get along? And it's like, okay, for some of you that may be like, why would I ask those questions if I'm happy? The only time I ask those questions is if I'm questioning our relationship. Not so much.
That shouldn't be the answer.
That shouldn't be the answer.
You should always
be aware of why you are in tune with this person.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be a significant other. It can be a friend.
Yeah,
it can be a family member.
Absolutely,
it can be someone that your boss, your coworkers. Why am I hanging around these people? Like self-evaluation and evaluating the people around you. Are you being held back? Are you being propelled forward? Are you being sharpened every day?
Yeah.
And that's you and I, we sharpen each other every day.
Yes. Every day. So because here's the other thing. Here's why it's important to ask yourself why this works with your significant other or whoever you're with. Here's why it's important. Because when the haters come, while they're sharpening their knives, I don't know, Take Me to Church, whatever that song is. But anyway, anyway, while they're sharpening your knives, you're sitting over here looking at each other, getting closer to each other, figuring out why this works. It's building on that foundation that is you too.
Yeah.
Building on that foundation that is you too.
Yeah.
So because trust me, people don't like to see other people happy. And believe it, whether you want to believe it or not. People do not like to see other people happy.
No, they don't.
We do, but I'm just saying.
And we catch a lot of flack, but as far as the reason why you should look at that, it's because it is an evolution. It's not just getting older, it's evolving.
Absolutely.
That's why people, when they're 20 something vote one way, and when they're 60 something vote another,
because they got to see
you've evolved, you've been through life, you have a different view of it. And that's where always making sure and keeping everything in check. I just think it's valuable.
Yeah. So why else? Why else does this thing work between us? Now, hey, we're human beings. That we're gonna have situations where we disagree. We're gonna have arguments just like any other relationship.
Yeah.
But here's another reason why it works. Here's another reason why we don't argue, and the next thing you know, screw it, this marriage is over. Because I don't want to argue. So every time we argue, and look, we've gotten into some big ones too. But after every time we argue, one of the things I tell her is that, all right, well, that's said and done. You know what I mean? That's said and done. But what we're not going to do is sit here and go all night, being upset or sitting here. You're not finna leave. I'm not finna leave either. You know what I'm saying? We're not about to do nothing stupid. We love each other. We're just mad and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And because that's what it is at the end of the day. We don't react out of anger. We try not to.
We try not to.
Human, but we are human.
You do.
Right. We
that's what we do.
Sometimes humans. You do. Just don't.
But we also had to figure that out. Now, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Our very first argument, he stopped me and said, "Let's pray." Now, that was early when we were dating, and I was like, if every other person in the world would have done that to me, I wouldn't have been such a fighter. Because I would have been like, because that's what I do. Okay, if somebody says, "Nope, we're gonna pray," and means it,
yeah,
okay, then I'm going to stop. It doesn't mean I'm not going to fight with you after, but it does mean that I've taken that minute to ask God to direct my words, or for me to calm down so I can direct my words.
Because one of the toughest emotions to come back from is anger.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the toughest emotions to come back from, because, you know, and a lot of the things that that can happen. And one of the things we've talked about before, you know, obviously your first reaction is fear, which turns into anger, right? Yeah. Which you're angry because you're scared of this. Right. And it fed into that, you know what I mean? So it feeds into that.
They call it a secondary emotion. And you also can't think straight when you're angry. That's just facts. That's 100% science.
And that's why a lot of times, you know, what they tell you when you're angry, look, take a breath.
You got to
think things through, because what your significant other, whether it be spouse, husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you want to look at it as, they're going to remember the things that come out of your mouth. They're going to remember the things and there's a reason why they say words hurt.
Yeah.
But, you know, we can't sit here and spend 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or whatever, talking about why this works, because it just does. Because it just does.
Well, but we don't question.
Of course we can.
Yeah.
But of course we can. Yeah.
I think what the thing is we don't question why it works as much as we just look at ourselves and see why it works. Because we can tell you all day long why this relationship works, and we can look back, and everybody can, right? That bystander thing, you looking out, you know, or looking in, you can see why something's not working right.
Yeah.
And we look at that a lot, and there's times, you know, you're not always going to love everybody, and you're not always going to like everybody.
That's true.
That's something you have to work on. And I think that's what it comes down to with everything, with our marriage, with our podcast, with our relationship. We are always not above working on it. And we genuinely hear something different when we have an argument or we have a serious discussion. We actually listen.
Yeah.
We make sure it's productive, and then we take steps to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Or that issue is addressed. We actually do the work.
Right. And look, this isn't a self-help whatever
it's not.
thing.
And now that we're talking about it, I'm like,
yeah, it's what it sounds like. We're not relationship counselors or nothing like that. However, we are speaking on truth. We're not one of them people like, look, we ain't sitting up. We're not Dr. Phil sitting there act like his marriage is perfect and all that. Look, here's the thing. Yes, there are gonna be disagreements. We have them. There are gonna be arguments. We have them. One of the biggest things that you always have to remember, one of the things that we like to tell each other is like, look, we have to stay in this no matter what.
Yeah.
If this is when you put a ring on somebody's finger, and yes, I get it. Sometimes people grow apart. I get that. Look, I 100% get that. You know what I mean? Or the person isn't who you thought they were because you married them too fast or whatever. However, we got married in 6 months. So, and we are still 100% in love, blindly in love.
Well, we're always finding out something new too. And I think that makes it cool. But we were also incredibly honest with each other, overly honest with each other. And you can only do that if you're honest with yourself and you actually know what you want instead of what you don't want.
So there's something to be said that when she says overly honest with each other, because on our dates, and she's right, she said it before, but on our dates, I was so infatuated and so in love with this woman and wanted her for me that on, I want to say the first date, I was like, and this happened to me in this life, and then this happened to me, and this happened. I'm just trying to be transparent, just to let you know this and this and that. And, you know, because it had been a while since I dated someone I was really, really, really serious about.
Yeah.
And so that I was just head over heels from the moment I saw her. I'm going to stop before I start tearing up. But the point is that when I saw her, all I wanted to do was put a ring on her finger. And when you find that, or when you have someone that you're like, hey, no, I truly love this person.
Yeah.
Everything in the world stops.
Yep.
Everything in the world stops. Nobody else matters. Nobody else matters. And all you can think about is, what do I need to do to have this person in my life permanently? So if you put a ring on another person's finger, I will tell you, number one, that's why it works. Because you have decided, you know, for better or for worse, this is my soulmate. You know, this is who that I am deciding to spend the rest of my life with. This is who that no matter what happens between you two, it's you and them. It's you and them. We have been through hell and we are not back yet, but we've been through hell.
We're still touring.
We're still touring around like,
hell.
That's on fire.
Oh,
yeah,
look.
That's on fire. Well, everything's fine down here.
I didn't know that could burn.
Yeah.
Look at that. My God. Learn something new every day.
Also known as we're not perfect. And there's lots of things.
Thank God you have a master's in disaster.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Never make it out alive.
I'm telling you. So, but no, seriously. Like we said, hell, there's so many things going on in our life too, but we're here to tell you, look, the pandemic, that's why it works.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we got married and everything happened. We've been through more shit that we like to joke around. We've been through more things, more firsts that people go through in the first 3 years of our marriage than people go through the entire span of a marriage.
Yeah.
Hey, we've been through a pandemic in our marriage.
One.
Yeah. We went on a cruise within 6 months. This is why it works. Let me go ahead and put it to you like this. We went on a cruise. We experienced a pandemic together. We experienced tragic loss.
Yeah.
We experienced tragic gain. You know what I mean? We laughed together. We've cried together. We even did the whole sitting in bed eating popcorn and almonds and pepperoni while watching a show that triggered both of our PTSD.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? And we ugly cried. I mean, like,
couldn't stop.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we was like, I feel like it's, you remember that ugly cried where if there's a word for, if ugly cried was a word, I feel like it'd be Sadie. For real. Like if ugly cry was a word, it'd be Sadie. Like if you try ugly cry and yell now, Sadie. Sadie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. See what I mean?
Yeah,
That's one of those things. Like if ugly cry was a word, it'd be Sadie. No disrespect to people out there named Sadie, but I'm just telling you that's the truth.
And the funny thing is it wasn't like a rom-com. It wasn't like The Notebook or Bridges of Madison County.
We was watching the Pacific.
It was the Pacific. And by the last episode,
yeah,
Niagara
we
Falls.
done. We were done.
Niagara
we
Falls,
were
Frankie
done.
Jr.
We were done. But that's what we're talking about. I can sit up here with this woman and be like, hey, you want to play this video game? Hells yeah, bet. You know what I'm saying? I could sit here and I try not to make it mushy, like, oh, we finish each other's sentences. But we do. But we do. So
but I can also sit there and say, hey, I've got to draw, or hey, I'm gonna paint, or whatever. And you're like, all right, I'll be here. He supports me in everything I do. I support him in everything he does. And the podcast works off of that because this is our therapy. And if nobody watches it, nobody watches it, because we still come down here and do this because we know there's somebody out there or a couple out there or whatever that is thinking the same thing we are.
Yes. And I'm glad you said that, because this is our therapy. We don't do it for the likes. We don't do it for the views. We don't do it for the subs. But if all those come, great.
Yeah, great. It's great. Yeah, it's great fun.
Yeah, because full disclosure, we've been doing this for a year. And we got maybe 378 subscribers.
Yep.
That just happened over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So look,
we've been discovered.
Yeah. I mean, thank you and all. We do appreciate that. But let's make no mistake. We do this because it works.
Yeah.
It works. You know what I'm saying? And then like to
helps us.
Yeah, it helps. So I don't know what else I can say about why this works, baby, but
yeah, I'm surprised we had yet another mushy topic on us.
But that's how we do. Unapologetic, unscripted, guys. Unedited is like, hey, we're not going to throw these topics away. The only time you will see us put a topic away is if we're like, okay, we've already talked about that. I feel like we've reached the episode. We're starting to reach the episodes where we're like rappers when they come up with lyrics, when they got so many albums out. It's like,
they gotta
look up their lyrics, make sure that they didn't say it anymore.
Yeah, I was doing that the other day, actually. I was like, hey, did we cover that? Because I thought of a fishbowl topic, and then I was like scrolling through YouTube. Oh yeah, we got.
So there it is. Maybe you got anything else on this?
No.
Yeah.
I really don't.
And that's fine. So that's why it works. Like we're not even able to really explain it. It just does.
It just works, and we don't question that so much.
Yeah. So there it is.
People question us, but we don't question it. So, just just look at your life. If things aren't working for you, figure out why.
Figure out why it's not working,
Figure
so you
out
can get to
why.
why it does work.
Yes.
Figure out why it does work.
Because there's no reason why it shouldn't.
Absolutely. So look,
There's your sign.
y'all heard us. Y'all heard us on why. That's our show on why this works. So I'm gonna end it also by saying, hey guys, we're really getting into the ASMR game. We got a lot of different ones coming up that we're really, really excited about that we're gonna be bringing up to you guys. Also, oh yeah, because my wife been on she did some really good stuff with some meditation music, and it's really good.
Cool.
So I think it's really good. So, but anyway, blue and yellow. Make sure you guys support the blue and yellows. Support Ukraine over there any way you can, guys. DMWATSpodcast.com is where y'all can find us. Streaming services, y'all know where y'all can find us, including the one you're watching this on right now. If you're watching this on the YouTube
or listening
to us on all the streaming services. Too many lists. Y'all know the deal. Yeah. Y'all know the deal. We can. Sheba's on Robinhood. There you go. Anissa says goodbye, and so do we, and so does Scar. So signing off for DMWATS Podcast. I'm Davey.
I'm Misty.
And we are DMWATS. You guys take it easy. Have a good one. We'll catch you on the next one. Actually, it's our last one, right?
Well, for the week.
For the week. It's our last one for the week. So we'll see you guys Monday. All right.
Unless
bye-bye.
something happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
Like Misty gets an audience with a governor or politician. Then you'll see it live.
I hope the music is going now.
Why this works, baby.
Yes, why it works.
You put the music right over me when I keep on going.
Y'all have a good one.